I finally got the campus goddess Willow to be my girlfriend after chasing her for 3 years. But then, my buddy David told me something wild. He had traveled back from 10 years in the future. His mission, to save the woman who would become his wife. And while he was at it, save me too, he said. Your girlfriend is a total gold digger, a pretentious coquette, and an all-around toxic manipulator. If you don't want to be the next guy wearing metaphorical horns, you better break up with her immediately. I was speechless, still on the fence, unsure what to believe. Then he snapped. She'll bring bad luck to your finances. You'll lose everything you own. The next second, I broke up with her without hesitation. Chapter 1. David and I had grown up together. We were so close that if he ever got tricked into a pyramid scheme, I'd be the first person he'd recruit. So when he told me he had traveled back from 10 years in the future, my first reaction wasn't to think he'd lost his mind. Instead, I asked, why the hell didn't you come back 2 days earlier and at least give me the essay topic for the college entrance exam? David looked at me, completely deadpan. If I came back 2 days earlier, I'd have to take the exam too. With my current brain power, how many points do you think I'd get? I was at a loss for words. We sat in silence for a moment. Then he said, George, I need your help. Turns out David came back to save his future wife. This summer, on the night the college entrance exam results were released, our city would witness a shocking and brutal case. The top student goddess kills her father incident. Alicia, the liberal arts valedictorian, had endured a childhood of relentless domestic abuse. Her father beat her mother savagely, and Alicia had witnessed it countless times. Years of trauma had piled up like a ticking time bomb. That night, when her father raised a knife to attack her mother once again, Alicia stabbed him to death from behind. The entire city was stunned. David said, I'm going to stop that from happening. I nodded seriously. What do you need me to do? He said, Alicia doesn't know me yet. That's why I need your wife's help. She and Alicia were close in high school. With her involved, we'll have a better chance of succeeding. Forgive me, a freshly graduated high school virgin. When I heard the phrase, your wife, I couldn't help feeling a little shy. I asked quietly, my wife, you mean Willow? David scoffed. Anna. I stared. I don't even know her. David explained. I just attended your wedding not long ago. Anna told me herself she's been in love with you for 12 years, which means she started crushing on you back in high school. I was still in a daze. David continued. But speaking of Willow, he scowled in disgust. That bitch cheated on you countless times behind your back, then had the nerve to guilt trip you constantly with emotional manipulation. You nearly fell into depression because of her. If it weren't for Anna pulling you out of it, you'd be. He stopped mid-sentence. But I still couldn't believe it. In my eyes, Willow was the school belle, gorgeous, smart, and had a beautiful singing voice. I pursued her all 3 years of high school. She was touched by my devotion, and finally agreed to be with me after the college entrance exam. We had been dating for less than 4 hours. I thought I had finally won the girl of my dreams. That happiness was just beginning. Then my best friend dumped a freezing bucket of truth on my head. David asked, you don't want to break up with her? I tried to explain. It's just, we literally just got together today. He took a deep breath and struck where it hurt most. You two break up in your junior year of college. She dumps you because your family goes bankrupt. I even consulted a fortune master. She's totally incompatible with your energy. She'll block your wealth and ruin your future. But hey, if you want to stick with her, be my guest. I was so spooked I grabbed my phone on the spot. Just then, Willow texted, Georgie, I miss you already. Under David's watchful eye, I typed furiously, I've thought about it, and I don't think we're a good match. Let's break up. She replied with a question mark, afraid she'd try to convince me otherwise. I blocked and deleted her in one swift move. David gave me an approving nod. I exhaled deeply, like I had just dodged a bullet. Chapter 2. There were less than 20 days left before the college entrance exam results came out. Time was tight, and David and I didn't dare waste a second. The next day, we went straight to the hot pot restaurant where Alicia worked. According to David, Alicia had been working there ever since the exams ended, trying to save up money for college tuition and living expenses. David and I pretended to be regular customers, and before long, the waitress Alicia appeared. All the staff wore white t-shirts with the restaurant's logo, but Alicia wore a cream-colored long-sleeve knit top under the restaurant's standard apron. She leaned forward to hand us each a warm towel. Only when she got closer did I notice. A long scar stretched from behind her right ear down past the collar of her shirt. David had told me Alicia wore long sleeves year-round, even in summer, because her arms were covered in scars, from being whipped with vines and burned by cigarette butts. Cruel, harsh, unforgettable. I looked at her naturally, not trying to stare. Almond-shaped eyes, delicate brows, short hair curling slightly at the ends. Her profile was lit just right, outlining her face in a cold, ethereal glow. Maybe it was her aloof aura, but as she leaned over to serve me, I actually felt a little uncomfortable. Then I glanced at David. His eyes were already red. When Alicia walked away, I nudged him and whispered, "Hey, get it together. We have a mission here." David nodded. Our mission was to start working at that hot pot restaurant, to get close to Alicia, befriend her, and, in doing so, stop the tragedy from ever happening. While scanning the QR code to order, I started thinking about how we could get hired. Just then, David kicked me under the table. He silently mouthed, "Your wife." Thanks to our all-nighter talk yesterday, I was now totally immune to the phrase, "your wife." I turned to look at the girl nearby. She was dressed in the restaurant's uniform, her entire face glowing pale under the warm light. Her features were delicate, long lashes slightly lowered, her expression nervous, eyes fixed straight ahead on a glass of lemonade. The lemonade was nearly overflowing, but she kept pouring. Her pale cheeks slowly flushed under my gaze. The water spilled. Her face turned even redder. Flustered, she grabbed a towel to clean up the mess. Seizing the moment, David asked, "Are you still hiring summer staff here?" Anna paused for 2 seconds, then said, "As far as I know, we're not really shorthanded." David kicked me again. I caught the cue and jumped in quickly. "Could you maybe check for us? We'd really like to work here." She stammered, "Maybe I can go ask." While we waited, another group of customers crowded into the entrance. In the crowd, I instantly spotted Willow. I quickly turned my head away, but to my dismay, she seemed to be headed straight toward me. The moment she entered, she walked directly to my table. She stood beside me, pouting, and asked, "Georgie, what was that last night all about?" I replied, "It means we're over." I looked her straight in the eye. There was no affection left. Last night, David had told me all about Willow's toxic behavior. Cheating on me behind my back multiple times was one of the lighter offenses. The list of manipulative, gaslighting tactics went on and on. Just thinking about it had my fists clenched. If I still liked her after knowing all that, I'd have to be out of my mind. Willow's eyes instantly reddened. Her voice trembled. "But we just got together. Are you playing with me?" she said in a pitiful voice. "You've liked me for so long. We waited so long to finally be together. How could you just end it like that?" Her attempt to guilt-trip me made me feel something was off. In my impression, Willow never liked me that much. Certainly not enough to cry over a breakup. She was always aloof, always in control. Breaking up wouldn't faze her in the slightest, let alone make a public scene like this. Then, for the first time, a thought flashed through my mind like lightning. Could Willow also be a time traveler? Chapter 3. Once I started having doubts, everything about Willow began to seem off. Like right now, she was openly acknowledging our relationship in public. One of the things David raged about last night was that Willow always kept up a single girl image on her social media. Forget introducing me to her family or best friends, she never even admitted she had a boyfriend. But now, right in front of all her girlfriends, she declared with absolute sincerity, "You guys go ahead and eat, I want to stay with my boyfriend." Her words triggered a wave of teasing whistles and laughter around the restaurant. Willow's enchanting eyes locked on mine. There's a kind of gaze that people naturally born with seductive charm possess. Hers had that exact quality. She said softly, "Georgie, can we not break up?" Before I could even respond, she added stubbornly, "I won't agree to it. You're never breaking up with me in this lifetime." A chill ran down my spine. I exchanged a look with David. We both saw the same shock mirrored in each other's eyes. This unexpected turn of events was seriously troublesome. To buy time and think of a plan, I decided to play along for the moment and keep Willow calm. I asked, "Then do you know what you did wrong?" Willow looked at me blankly and shook her head. I said, "That's your problem. If you can't even figure out what you did wrong, then don't talk to me." She looked like she was about to cry. "Georgie," she whimpered. "Anything else?" I said coldly. "If not, don't bother me and my bro while we eat." She shot David a quick glance, then pulled out her phone and said, "Fine. Then re-add me as a friend. I won't leave until you add me." Wanting to get rid of this walking disaster as quickly as possible, I didn't hesitate. I added her back. She finally left, but even after she was gone, the atmosphere at the table didn't really lighten. To avoid being overheard, I started typing messages to David on my phone. "Do you think Willow's the same as you?" She did a full 180 on me. Her attitudes totally flipped. I was almost certain her change began with that message. "Georgie, I miss you so much." She had never called me something so affectionate before that. During our whole 4-hour relationship, I was always the one chasing. Suddenly, the roles reversed. The cold one became clingy. David nodded cautiously. He typed out a long message. "After you got with Anna, Willow came looking for you a lot. She said she regretted everything, claimed she'd been blind and stupid, and didn't realize how much she loved you until it was too late. She wanted to win you back, even showed up to your wedding with Anna and caused a scene. She probably came back in time just for you. A wave of tension washed over me. The last thing I wanted was to get entangled with a time-traveling manipulator, before I could figure out what to do next. A waitress brought me a fruit tea. She smiled and said, "It's from that pretty girl over there." I looked up and locked eyes with Willow. She gave me a playful wink. I was speechless. I had chased Willow for 3 whole years. I was always the one buying her drinks. This was the first time she had ever bought me anything. David muttered, "So, what now?" "She's clearly latched onto you." Her gaze, like a venomous snake flicking its tongue, still haunted my mind. It made my skin crawl. That's the phrase that came to mind. In the midst of my anxiety, a sudden idea formed in my head. I said, "Then let her cling." David blinked. "What?" I looked him dead in the eye and explained. "I mean, I was her simp for so many years, always dangling on her hook. Now that she's chasing me and can't get what she wants. Honestly, that's kind of satisfying." David got it. He grinned. "If Willow really did travel back in time, then right now, she's probably completely convinced you still love her." I chuckled and nodded, "But I don't love her anymore." Chapter 4. It turned out, treating Willow like someone I could take or leave felt amazing, especially after learning how she used to play me. That just made it even sweeter. After I added her back on social media, she started bombarding me with messages, apologies, love confessions, cutesy baby talk. Sometimes she'd send flirty messages loaded with innuendo. Other times she'd record sultry videos in revealing outfits, her seductive voice and stunning body constantly trying to tempt me. David saw the clips and got scared I'd fall for it. He kept whispering her long list of past toxic manipulations into my ear like a broken record, but I wasn't tempted, not even close. In fact, I found it kind of funny. This woman who used to be on her high horse, playing me like a fool without a care in the world, was now just a step away from throwing herself at me. How was that not hilarious? So naturally, reviewing Willow's daily messages became one of our new favorite pastimes. David loved it. "She tortured you so much back then," he said. "She deserves every second of this. Thank God she time-traveled back. Otherwise, we'd never get the chance to mess with her like this." I nodded, grinning in agreement. Compared to my smooth sailing, though, David's mission to redeem Alicia wasn't going so well. Thanks to Anna's help, both of us had successfully started working at the Hot Pot restaurant, and in his off hours, David spent every moment trying to get close to Alicia. But Alicia was extremely hard to approach. Aside from Anna, she barely spoke to anyone outside of work duties. It was like she'd built a wall around herself. She distanced herself from all emotional connection, avoided any chance of bonding. Talk to her, she'd reply. Ask for help, she'd help. Beyond that, nothing. Watching David get stonewalled again and again, his face growing gloomier by the day, I decided to ask Anna for help. I said, "Do you have any idea how to help them get closer?" Anna looked surprised, her ears turning red. I quickly explained. "My friend kinda likes your friend, but you know, she's, really cold." Anna asked. "You're trying to matchmake them?" I sighed. "I'm not even hoping they'll end up together. I just want Alicia to stop shutting him out completely." Anna stared at me for a moment and finally said, "I'll try something." Then something amazing happened. At lunch that day, Alicia walked over to our table. She said she had some questions for David and asked him to come with her. Her voice was as calm and aloof as ever, but David looked like he'd just won the lottery. I stared, stunned, watching them walk away together. I couldn't wait. I grabbed my tray and rushed over to Anna. "How did you do that?" I asked. Anna started by explaining. "Alicia doesn't like feeling manipulated. She'll only do something if it's her own choice." I nodded. "Right." She bit her lip and continued. "So I told her that I liked you, and asked her to do me a favor." My eyes went wide. Her cheeks flushed. "You're always with your friend, like attached at the hip," she said. "So I told her the only way I could get some time alone with you was if she could distract him from me." Suddenly, it all made sense. On the surface, it looked like Alicia was helping Anna get close to me, but in reality, Anna had created a way for David to get close to Alicia. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Anna looked down and added softly, "George, you're not mad at me, right?" she said. "I just thought it was the only way to help those two get closer, even though it wasn't real. I know you have a girlfriend. So I got a little worried. If she finds out, would she be mad? If she is, I cut her off." "I don't have a girlfriend." Anna blinked, surprised. I looked her in the eye and said, "I don't mind. I think this is perfect, because honestly, who wouldn't be a little dazzled by a girl like this?" Chapter 5. Thanks to Anna's indirect strategy, David was finally spending much more time with Alicia, and as for me, I was growing noticeably closer to Anna through our daily interactions. At first, I couldn't really tell she had a crush on me. She never showed any signs of flirting, Always kept the perfect amount of distance in her words and actions. If anything, the only giveaway was how easily she blushed when I was around. Aside from that, she was flawless at hiding it. But now, ever since she found out I didn't have a girlfriend, her emotions were starting to show a little more. For example, she'd bring me breakfast before our shifts. If I hesitated to take it, she'd insist. My family made it, I don't like it, and I'd feel bad throwing it away. Yeah, right. Who makes a beautifully plated breakfast every single day that nobody in the house likes? I teased her about it, and she blushed, mumbling, "Well, since Alicia thinks I like you, I need to act the part, don't I?" I thought to myself, you can keep playing it cool, but I see right through you. Spending time with Anna was like working through a logic proof. I already knew the conclusion. She liked me, but why she liked me, and how she liked me, those were still mysteries. Uncovering all the little signs was surprisingly fun, and the way she tried so hard to hide her real feelings. Honestly, kind of adorable. Sometimes I'd tease her, say things like, "Keep this up and I might start thinking you really like me," then watch her face turn bright red. Panicking to come up with terrible excuses, it made even the most mundane shifts enjoyable. I thought things were going pretty well, until one day, Willow suddenly showed up at the hot pot restaurant. I was in the supply room, grabbing a mop to clean the floor. When she barged in through the door, looking angry, she snapped. If someone hadn't sent me a photo, I wouldn't have believed it. "So you really are working here?" Then she shouted, Why are you even here? You and her shouldn't even know each other yet." If I didn't know anything, her words might have made no sense, but I did. I knew exactly what she meant. She was talking about me and Anna. We weren't supposed to know each other yet. I forced a calm expression. "I don't know what you're talking about." Willow rushed up and grabbed my arm. "George, you do know something, don't you?" Her eyes were full of confusion. "You're supposed to like me. At this point in time, you're head over heels for me. Why is it different? Why is everything so different now?" Since there were still customers outside, I didn't want to make a scene, but Willow wouldn't let go. She tugged at my shirt, pulling so hard she stretched out the sleeve. While we were struggling, the door behind her swung open again. Alicia walked in. She was probably there to return some cleaning tools. For a moment, she looked surprised by what she saw. Then she glanced at Willow and asked me, "Who is she?" Just as I opened my mouth to explain, Willow turned to stare at Alicia. Something seemed to click in her mind. She asked slowly, "Is it because of her?" She looked back at me, her voice low and almost accusing. "You know she kills herself, don't you? That's why you're here. You're trying to stop it from happening, aren't you?" Chapter 6, David asked. "So, what did you say to her?" After hearing what had happened in the supply room, he grabbed me anxiously, desperate to know what came next. I said. I ignored her, told her to stop acting crazy. David followed up quickly. "What about Alicia? What was her reaction?" I answered slowly. She didn't really react, and that was the part that had me stuck. Anyone else, upon hearing someone claim they were going to commit suicide, would react. Curiosity, confusion, disbelief, anything. But Alicia, nothing. No emotion, no shock, not even a raised brow. Then a thought crossed my mind, one that I'd never even considered before. I said, "Could it be Alicia's a time traveler too?" David actually laughed. "What are you even talking about?" He shook his head. "She just doesn't care." Or maybe, what Willow said struck a nerve. Maybe that was the moment the thought of suicide first entered her mind. My heart tightened. It was hard, really hard, to associate a word like suicide with someone like Alicia, someone who worked so hard every day just to earn enough for school. I asked, "What really happened? Why did she do it?" David went quiet, lost in thought. It took him a long time to finally speak. "She got stuck in that summer. She never made it out." David told me that after the patricide, Alicia's mother never forgave her. The same woman who had endured years of domestic violence from her husband, whom Alicia had killed trying to protect. When it was over, her first reaction wasn't relief, but grief over having no husband anymore, David said. She blamed Alicia for everything. He went on. Alicia was sentenced to 4 years in prison. Her mom never visited her once. Worse, after she got out, her mother started harassing her. She would text her, send her letters, saying things like, "You're heartless. If I'd known it'd come to this, I never would have given birth to you." I cursed. What the actual hell? David let out a shaky breath. When the story first broke, everyone was talking about how young she was, saying that once she got out, she'd have a second chance at life. His voice trembled. He choked up. But it turns out, freedom wasn't a new beginning for her. It was just a new kind of hell. Maybe she just couldn't take it anymore. On yet another college exam results day, Alicia hid a razor blade in her clothes while pretending to take a shower. By the time David found her, blood had already filled the entire tub. She was covered in blood, pale as a ghost, lying limp in his arms. Even then, she wiped the tears off David's face and said, "Don't cry. It's my fault. It's all my fault." I asked, "Was she brainwashed by her mom?" David replied quietly, "Maybe, probably. I hated her mom with everything I had, but I didn't know how to punish her. So I decided to blow it all up. I went to the media, exposed everything, let the public judge for themselves." David gave a bitter smile. What happened back then? Who was right? Who was wrong? And what's happening now? Can we even say who's right or wrong anymore? He said, "It couldn't have all been Alicia's fault, right?" Then he added, "But I didn't get to see how it all turned out. Before I knew it, I had already time traveled. There was this voice in my head telling me I could change Alicia's past." Immediately, I remembered that day after the college entrance exam. How nervous and excited David had looked when he first told me he was from 10 years in the future. I patted his shoulder and said firmly, "You can." "Absolutely." David rubbed his temples, his voice hoarse. "Honestly, I'm scared," he said. "Every time I see Alicia going back to that house, my chest tightens. I'm scared I won't be able to change anything. I'm scared that me being here doesn't matter at all, that fate is already set, and we're just heading toward the day no matter what." I shook my head. "No," I said, "one word at a time. You didn't just come here to save Alicia, you came here to save me too. Think about it. If you hadn't shown up, I'd still be with Willow right now. If I ended up marrying that toxic manipulator, she'd have turned me into the king of all simps. But now, not only am I not with her, I met Anna early. I avoided who knows how many dead ends in life. That just proves fate can be changed, and that means Alicia's going to be okay too." David nodded in agreement. That night, Willow sent me another message. "Georgie, I'm sorry. It was my fault today. I just don't understand how you could stop loving me so suddenly. Is it because of Alicia? Did you already know what she was going to do?" "Fine. You're not going to reply. I hope you don't regret it." I still hadn't forgotten that poisonous glare Willow gave Alicia earlier, to prevent her from interfering again and potentially ruining David's plan to save Alicia. I decided to give Willow a little gift. I compiled all her threatening messages, along with security footage from the supply room showing her barging in like she was laying a trap for Alicia, and handed everything over to the police. The authorities charged her with disrupting public order and detained her for 5 days. I was very pleased with that outcome. At least now we knew Willow was no longer a threat, because in just 3 days, the college entrance exam results would be released. Chapter 7. On the day the exam results came out, Alicia unquestionably took first place in the liberal arts division. When the teacher called with the good news, she was busy clearing the empty plates on the table. After saying a few words of thanks, she put her phone away and continued cleaning up. Such calm composure and indifference to fame was truly admirable. Anna walked over and waved her hand in front of my face. "What's with that look? You're totally mesmerized. Do you admire her that much?" I replied speechlessly. "What kind of question is that? She's the top scorer in liberal arts. I'm just impressed." Then I teased her. "Are you jealous of her?" She scoffed. "What would I be jealous of?" With a little pout and an awkward tone, she added, "I ranked 5th in the whole city." "That's not bad either, right?" I exclaimed. "That's amazing, Anna. Low-key genius who stuns everyone, is that your vibe?" Anna's face instantly turned red. Her eyes avoided mine slightly, but the way her lips were trying not to curve up clearly showed she was happy. I thought to myself, she's kind of cute when she's awkward. Then I asked, "So, did you tell her what I talked to you about?" Anna nodded. "I told her you're going to confess today. She promised she'd come and support you, said she can stay out all night." I was satisfied. That was the plan David and I had worked out. We couldn't control what Alicia might do, but we could make sure she wasn't home. As long as she didn't go back to that house tonight, that incident wouldn't happen. After our shift at the hot pot restaurant, the 4 of us headed to a karaoke lounge in the mall. Long sofa. The 4 of us sat in a row, Alicia and David in the middle. When I saw Alicia giggling at David's jokes and even reach out to pinch his arm, a warm sense of relief welled up in me. Finally, the eternal iceberg was finally melting. Anna and I exchanged glances. We both felt like there was hope for these two. David and I locked eyes too. Both of us felt tonight's plan just might work. Pressure and emotions melted away in the music. Song after song, the night wore on until it was almost dawn. I let my guard down and started eating fruit. Suddenly, Alicia's phone lit up. She glanced at the screen, then abruptly stood up, grabbing her phone and heading for the door. Anna asked, "What's wrong?" Alicia glanced quickly at David and me, then whispered to Anna, "That guy's been drinking. I'm worried about my mom." David immediately realized something was off and called out anxiously, "Alicia, don't go. Alicia replied softly. Sorry, you guys keep having fun. Something came up at home, I need to check on it. Her hand was already on the door handle when David stood up and said, Don't go, come back. Alicia paused for a moment but didn't stop. She opened the door and walked out. The room fell into sudden silence. Chapter 8. I'm going after her, I have to go, David shouted, then bolted out of the room chasing Alicia. I followed close behind, with Anna right on my heels. But when we reached the entrance of the building, Alicia was already gone. David looked around anxiously, then turned to Anna and asked, Do you know where she lives? Anna hesitated. Alicia doesn't like anyone meddling in her family matters. David's tone was firm. No, this time, we have to intervene. Anna bit her lip. But her family situation is complicated. Her dad's been an alcoholic for years. When he gets drunk, he becomes violent. If you too, David cut her off, his voice urgent. I get it. Just take us there, please. Anna looked at me, hesitating. I added, What if something really bad happens because we didn't go? She nodded. Okay. We took a cab to Alicia's home. It was an old, run-down building. Just reaching the second floor on foot, we could already hear the yelling and cursing coming from the fourth floor. Sensing something was seriously wrong, David sprinted up ahead. Anna and I rushed after him. The door flung open, and we were hit with a horrifying sight. A man, face flushed red from alcohol, was holding a knife above his head, ready to strike. Beneath that blade, Alicia trembled as she shielded a middle-aged woman in her arms. The woman was crying uncontrollably, choking out pleas for the men to stop. Don't, David shouted, rushing forward to intervene, but a few steps were still too slow. Just as David kicked the man's leg, the knife came down on Alicia's back. In an instant, blood poured out. Anna ran forward, pressing on Alicia's wound to stop the bleeding. David wrestled the men to the ground with everything he had, yelling at me, Call the police, now. Before I could react, a hoarse voice roared louder than his. Don't call the police. Don't take my husband away. I looked up at the hysterical woman and cursed under my breath. Then I hit 110 without hesitation. That chaotic night inevitably ended in the hospital. Thankfully, Alicia's injuries didn't reach her bones or internal organs. Though the knife had gone deep, it was only a surface wound. With proper care, she'd recover. Outside the hospital bed, David held Alicia's hand tightly, full of relief. Anna and I sat on a bench in the hallway. She stared off into the distance, lost in thought. When I turned to look at her, our eyes met, suddenly, directly. She asked softly, You guys knew something was going to happen tonight, didn't you? She continued, That's why you didn't want Alicia to go home. That's why you insisted on going there. Her voice wasn't accusatory. She just seemed to want the truth. But I said, I can't tell you. David hadn't told Alicia because he knew she wouldn't believe him. I, on the other hand, didn't say anything because I wasn't sure if the girl in front of me could be trusted, even if she might become my future wife someday. At this stage, I had to stay cautious. So I added, I can only tell you we meant no harm. She gave me a soft smile. I know you just wanted to help Alicia. Then she said, I just want you to know, I'll always be on your side. Whatever happens, I'll face it with you. In that moment, the door I kept closed on trust creaked open, just a little. Chapter 9. After the police were called, Alicia's father didn't face any serious consequences. After all, it was considered a family matter, and Alicia's mother kept insisting to the authorities that it was an accident, not intentional. So, the police could only issue a warning and let them go. But online, that was a different story. The public outcry was intense. That was Anna and I's doing. It wasn't hard to leak the story to the media, especially since Alicia carried the high-profile title of top scorer in the liberal arts for the National College Entrance Exam. Liberal arts valedictorian stabbed by drunken father and hospitalized, a headline like that practically screamed madness. Parents and students alike were outraged and heartbroken for Alicia. The internet exploded with condemnation, and that wave of online fury soon spilled into real life. Neighbors, relatives, and family friends, once they learned what kind of people Alicia's parents were, began avoiding them like the plague. Some even spat on the ground when they passed by, like the couple were vermin in the street. After being discharged, Alicia never returned to that house again. She moved into Anna's apartment in the city. When I found out Anna owned property in the city and was, basically, quietly wealthy, I was shocked. I asked, How many other secrets are you hiding from me? Then, you've got that much money, and you still worked at the hot pot place. Anna whispered. I was there for her, and I thought, wow, that's some next-level best friend loyalty. David didn't want Alicia out of his sight, and I wanted to be there for my brother. So the four of us ended up living in that apartment together. At first, it was just a group of young people eating, chilling, and messing around. But once Alicia began to heal, she couldn't sit still anymore. She wanted to go back to work. David didn't like the idea and vented to me. So I talked to Anna. With Alicia's top scorer title, We easily pulled together a bunch of students and set up an online tutoring business. We scheduled her classes from morning till night. She could teach from home and made way more than she ever did waiting tables. This plan worked out for everyone. Alicia was happy, more money. David was happy, she didn't need to leave the house. I was happy, my bro finally had peace of mind. Anna was happy. Well, I'm not exactly sure why she was happy, but she just was. All in all, it was a win-win for everyone. While David and Alicia buried themselves in study and work, Anna and I were stuck trying to decide our college applications. It should have been easy, just apply to the same schools as before. David had already told me he used to attend an university, but he had chosen that school because of Willow. This time, I wanted something different, so I asked Anna, "Where are you planning to apply?" She picked out a few schools, ones where her scores easily qualified, and mine barely made the cutoff. I turned to look at her. She quickly looked away, awkwardly explaining, "These are all really good schools. I like them." I kept staring at her. Her face slowly turned red. Lately, things with Anna often felt like this, like a shaken soda can, barely held in. One pull of the tab and everything would burst out, but neither of us had broken the tension yet. I smiled. "Okay, wherever you apply, I'll apply." Anna tucked her hair behind her ear, flipped open a book like she wasn't fazed, and suddenly launched into a deep discussion about the 4 types of causality. Sure, as long as she's happy. That peaceful and sweet period ended the moment I got a call from Willow. Ever since she got detained after the police incident, I hadn't heard from her at all. I hung up right away. She called again. I hung up again. Then she called once more, annoyed. I was about to block her when she sent a message. "I'm on the school rooftop. I want to see you one last time." My finger froze. Then another message came. "We have to end this properly, or would you rather I keep haunting you?" I hesitated for a few seconds, then replied, "Got it." Chapter 10. The next time I saw Willow, it was on the school rooftop. I'd always known her as bright and beautiful. After all, she had been the campus goddess. There were rarely moments when she didn't look stunning. But now, leaning against the rooftop railing, she looked pale and frail. The wind blew through her already messy hair, making her appear even more disheveled. When she saw me, she gave a weak smile and said, "You came." I asked, "What do you want to say?" "So heartless," she said. "Shouldn't this be the moment you love me the most?" I frowned. "If this is where you're going with it, I'm leaving." Then she asked, "You were the one behind Alicia's situation, weren't you?" She said, "If you hadn't interfered, the headlines today would have been all about her murdering her father." I stayed quiet and let her ramble. She went on. "Since we both know what's really going on, I'll just speak plainly." Willow said, "After I was thrown out of your wedding, I got into a car accident. At the brink of death, a voice asked me, if you could go back, would you believe you could make him love you again?" I said yes. I even chose the time when you loved me the most. But what I didn't know was that voice was playing with me. It sent you back too. So it turns out, no matter when I return to, you were never going to love me again. I wanted to argue. But honestly, what's the point in reasoning with someone who's lost their grip on reality? She continued. "It was my fault. I hurt you back then because I didn't understand my own feelings. I'm sorry. I've repented. I've been punished twice over. I deserve it. I just don't know what else I can do to make things right." Then she suddenly looked up at me and said, "Tell me, what would it take for you to believe I love you?" I replied flatly, "I don't need your love." She glanced over her shoulder, and her expression darkened, like the light in her eyes was fading. She choked out, "I think I'm about to die." That voice said, "If I could be with you, I'd find happiness. If I couldn't, I'd die." She gave a bitter smile. "Though technically, I've already died once. I'm scared. Can you at least say you love me, just once, just to comfort me a little?" I sighed. "Willow, your tragedy isn't my fault. I know I brought it on myself." She said, "I just wanted to hear you say you love me, that's all." At that point, I knew nothing more needed to be said. I turned and walked away. Behind me, her voice trembled. "So cruel. You treat me like this. So I sent you a little gift in return," she shouted, "before you came. I called Anna too. I just wanted to see. How much does she really love you?" Her voice echoed behind me. "After she finds out the truth, will she still be able to love you?" I tore down the stairs, running as fast as I could, leaving that voice, sharp as a dagger, behind me. All I could think was, find Anna, explain everything, now. But just as I rushed out the school building, I ran straight into someone. It was Anna. She asked, "Why are you in such a hurry? What's going on with you?" Still in a daze, I blurted out, "What did Willow say to you? She called you. What did she say?" Anna's reaction felt like it came from a completely different world. She suddenly looked down, shy and blushing. "I don't really remember," she said. "As soon as she said I was your wife, I didn't hear anything else." "What?" My jaw nearly hit the ground. "I'm serious," she said. After she said that, My head was full of "I'm going to be your wife." I couldn't read, couldn't sit still, so I came out to find you. I scratched my head in frustration. For a moment, I had no idea what to say. But yeah, maybe being a hopeless romantic had its perks. At least she knew what to listen to and what to tune out. Whatever Willow had tried to stir up, as long as Anna didn't care, then none of it mattered. Chapter 11. On the way back, Anna and I sat at the back of the bus. She was clearly still caught up in the whole husband-wife fantasy. Her ears were flushed an unusual shade of red. I felt like a shaken soda can about to burst if the tab wasn't pulled. So I just said it outright. "You like me, don't you?" Anna shyly nodded. I asked, "Why?" That was something I'd been wondering ever since we started spending more time together. We hadn't gone to the same high school. We didn't cross paths in daily life. Our hobbies didn't overlap. Even where we lived, she was way east. I was way west. There was absolutely no reason she should like me. She pressed her lips together and said, "Do I really have to say it?" I replied, "I really want to know." She finally began to speak. Slowly, she said, "During the New Year's performance in our first year of high school, my best friend dragged me to your school. Then she dragged me on stage to sing at the last minute." She said, "I was nervous." My voice cracked and went off key. People started booing from the crowd. I was humiliated. "But you were the first one who clapped for me." I asked, "Just because of that?" It sounded kind of ridiculous. Anna probably sensed my disbelief. She fell silent for a long while. Eventually, she whispered with a trace of hurt, "Actually, I already liked you the moment I saw you in the crowd, but back then, all you ever looked at was Willow." Her soft, almost aggrieved voice helped me understand why she hadn't wanted to bring this up. Because when she had fallen for me, I'd been focused on someone else. I asked, "You knew I liked someone else, and you still liked me?" She lowered her eyes. "Feelings aren't something you can control," she said. "I couldn't help it. It was my first time liking someone. I didn't know how to like you properly. When I missed you too much, I just followed my instincts and came to your school to see you. And the more I watched, the harder it was to let go." I teased her. "Did I look sweet with Willow?" She scoffed. "You two weren't that sweet." I burst out laughing. She realized what she'd said and turned bright red again. I said, "I don't like Willow anymore. I haven't liked her in a long time." She nodded. At first I didn't dare believe it. "And now?" I asked. "Do you believe it now?" She replied, "I don't need to believe that." She said, "I just want to know. Do you like me now? Even just a little?" My heart skipped a beat. The bus was nearing our stop. The mechanical voice began announcing the next station, reminding passengers to prepare to disembark. Anna was still looking at me, eyes full of anticipation. Everything seemed to be pushing me toward a decision. But honestly, there was nothing to consider. Of course I liked her. She was sincere, passionate, and real. How could I not like her? I took her hand and gently pulled her toward the rear exit. As the bus doors opened, I leaned in close to her ear and whispered, I like you, more than just a little." She stood there stunned. She stayed dazed the whole way home, letting me lead her by the hand like she couldn't quite believe it was real. Chapter 12. After going back and forth on it for a while, the four of us finally decided to apply to the same university. After all, Anna and I were now officially together. Even though Alicia and David weren't a couple yet, we followed what we jokingly called the closed-loop principle. David couldn't be without me, and Alicia couldn't be without Anna. So in the end, the four of us stuck together. On the day our admission letters arrived, something both significant and strange happened. Alicia's father passed away, reportedly. After drinking heavily, he developed a fever and took cephalosporin, a type of antibiotic, which triggered an acute allergic reaction and sent him into anaphylactic shock. He died because they couldn't save him in time. The most dramatic part: the cephalosporin had been given to him by Alicia's mother. She had no idea that mixing alcohol and cephalosporin could cause a disulfiram-like reaction. It was a mistake born from ignorance. When I heard about it, the first thing I did was go find David. I wanted to ask him, would the woman who once blamed her daughter for trying to kill her husband now feel guilty for being the one who actually did it? David gave a short laugh and said, "Karma, I guess." Despite everything, Alicia still returned home after her father's death, but when she came back from the funeral, she was clearly troubled. David asked her what was wrong. Alicia replied, "My mom blamed me for keeping that fever medicine in the house." David was instantly furious. "What does that have to do with you? It's not your fault." I chimed in. "Exactly. No one forced him to drink." Anna nodded along. "Right. Out of all the fever meds in the world, why pick that one?" After thinking it over for a moment, Alicia finally nodded and said, "You're right. This has nothing to do with me." After that, she went back home a few more times, always with David by her side. He didn't trust her mother and worried she might say something awful again. Watching David and Alicia walk off together, I made a bet with Anna, who was reading on the couch. As I sliced a watermelon, I asked, "When do you think those two will finally get together?" Anna closed her book and guessed. "Next year." She added. "Alicia's not exactly easy to win over," I confidently said. "This year," and tossed her back her own logic. "Because if there's one person my bro can win over, it's anyone," she snorted. "What are we betting?" I grinned. "You tell me." Anna suddenly looked up and studied my face, her eyes moved slowly from my eyes to my nose, and then lower. Then, seriously, she said, "If you lose, you have to kiss me." Without hesitation, I leaned over the couch, cupped her face, and kissed her. Then I said, "Pick something else that doesn't feel like punishment at all." Anna froze for a few seconds. Then, flustered, she grabbed the book on the couch and covered her face. Peeking out with tear-bright eyes, she whispered, "I can't think of anything else." "You pick." I frowned, thinking hard, and muttered, "I can't think of anything either." So the bet was cancelled, since neither of us could agree on the stakes. And just like that, the summer after the college entrance exam flew by, filled with laughter, watermelon, and soft moments. Before we knew it, the new school year had begun. The four of us packed up our things and, as freshly admitted college freshmen, stepped into our new lives side by side. The road ahead was unknown, but the future was right beneath our feet. So go ahead and chase it.